you have trust in the 49ers defense, but do you think I was kind of under the assumption if they would have lost the way that it looked like they were going to lose going into the first, like the friggin' at one point against the Lions, it wasn't like, please don't lose the Lions. It was, please don't lose by freaking 35 to the Lions. Like the Lions were on pace to score 60 points. Like it was crazy. So going into that first half, I was kind of the assumption that if they continued on the path that they would, no matter the success they had up until that point, just based off expectations and how poorly they performed, I thought Steve Wilkes might be out. Do you want to agree with that assessment based off the Lions game? And then do you feel differently about the Super Bowl and the Chiefs? Like, is there something where it's like kind of like there's no shame in losing to the Chiefs, or maybe do you feel like it depends on the game, like if they got blown out versus it being a close game, or do you think no matter what at this point Steve Wilkes will be back next year?
If they win the Super Bowl, he'll probably be back. If they lose, there's going to be definitely discussions. They're going to consider the options, but at that point, who's out there really, right? Like who's really out there that actually can fill that spot? But yeah, it's like it's really not dramatic to really freak out about this 49ers defense because they let up 24 points in the first half in the NFC Championship game. That's unacceptable. Again, I know the Lions are a fairly electric offense, and they were going to get theirs, but it's not only just how many points you gave up, it's the way that you did it. They scored on 4 of their 5 possessions, I think, that drive, or they scored a touchdown on 3 on 5, whatever. And you basically also had the most yards the 49ers have allowed, I think, in a first half since Kyle Shanahan's been the head coach. I saw that stat.
Yeah,
I don't know
most rushing yards too.
But I think it was like of all time, like since Kyle Shanahan's been the head coach there, it's the most yards they let up in the first half. Like that was disgusting. That was embarrassing. There was no excuse. And to me, it's just pretty much like, look, you missed tackles. You didn't want to adjust early. You wanted to wait. I mean, luckily it paid off. But if you do that, if you wait, if you keep having miscues, it's not going to go fly against the Chiefs. That's not going to fly at all, you know? And they're going to be too calculated, too experienced, literally, they're just too prominent. So you just can't do that. Maybe you can mess up for a drive or 2 or 3, but you can't have like a whole half. You're not going to win that way. And that's why I'm pretty much don't really see myself having much more confidence in the 49ers of possibly winning this game, going to that game. It's because of how the defense has constantly looked this way, how pretty much the whole team has constantly looked this way. And it's like, dude, like I just keep losing my confidence. Even when you guys are at the top of your game, like it was a toss-up of you guys beating the Chiefs, Bills, or Ravens in the first place. But now it's like how you're looking right now. It's like, man, like, those are not going to break away like too well. You're not going to get away with that too well against the Chiefs.
Definitely not. Now, are you nervous about Isaiah Pacheco kind of running? Because the run game setting the edges have been a huge problem. I will say, I think that Jair Brown was really pivotal, but even he gave up some big plays. Nick Bosa, they were running like straight around him anytime he tried to go straight for the quarterback. I know he finally got 2 sacks. Jared Goff is not mobile at all. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is not going to have that problem.
Fred Warner's been pretty bad too. Like he's had some bad stretches.
His tackles like crazy, right?
It's been bad.
Yeah. My takeaway was that Fred had a really bad game, but then I heard Kyle Shanahan say that Fred played like a defensive MVP, and I was like, oh, maybe I was really emotional when I.
No, he did play. I mean, maybe not in the entire game, but like that's why I said like he had a bad stretch in that game, especially that first half. It's like, dude, like what are you doing? Like, but then again, for the plays he was giving up, we also saw him like making like pivotal line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage stops. That was like, okay, made up for it. And it's like, like, come on, dude, pick a side. We kind of everyone wants you to kind of like be on the good side, not keep letting.
Well, I think the thing is like you expect, like you're not comparing Fred Warner to like a average linebacker. You're comparing him to himself.
We're holding him to a high standard, so that's unacceptable. You know, it's the same. Like we can criticize him, like, dude, like we know he can play better than this. He's not a bad player. You know, it goes the same thing with like any other player in the team. It's like, dude, you guys, you're better than this. We know you're better than this. What the hell's going on? Like, I remember he had a missed tackle on Amon-Ra St. Brown on a key 3rd and 9 play. And it's like, dude, you missed the tackle.
The Lions, like, their thing, right, is normally that they kind of don't treat third down like third down because they're always going to go for it on 4th down. But they kept freaking getting it running the ball on 3rd down. That was crazy. And there was multiple times they needed, like, over 10 yards.
Most of those in the first half was Amon-Ra, though. He converted 4 of them. The 3rd and 12 was the running play. Then there was a 3rd and 9, like 3rd and 14.
Williams,
Like,
I
all
think,
over Amon-Ra. Like I saw the stat. Like he had 5 catches. All 5 went for first down. 4 of them were on third down. And it was just like, that's what I'm saying. That the whole game plan that first half was just run the rock with these two.
But then who's going to be on Kittle? Because that's like the same thing. Like they're talking about like one star. They have a good running back, the Chiefs, and Isaiah Pacheco, and then they have Kittle, I don't even know who they're going to put on Kittle. Ward? Not Kittle, sorry. I don't know who they're going to put on Kelsey.
Fred Warner now at his stage should be able to man up on him 1,000% for sure. But that's if you man up. They didn't man up in that first half. They did a little more in the second half, it looked like, but that's not been their MO. Not a huge man team. I feel like that might have to be the case. We're gonna have to be a little more man, because if you let Mahomes just sit in the pocket, and given the way the pass rush hasn't really been, straight firing for the first 2.5 seconds, he's just gonna be able to dance around and find some guy, and he's gonna find the leaky holes in your zone. So that's why I'm really concerned with this defense, man. It's like, I know they don't have as much talent at all compared to like, the Lions especially, right? They don't have the talent like that. Like I know Rashee Rice is a good receiver, but come on, compared to who you just faced just now, Amon-Ra, like get out of here. And I know Kelsey is good, but Laporta's been better than him this year. It's just
Laporta did not make that much of an impact compared to like what he normally does, though. I don't think. I think that's just because the run game was working so well. They weren't like
like he just had a few nice catches, but he wasn't really like the impact player. They didn't need him to be, basically. But yeah, it's just the worry of me in the defense, and it's just like, okay, cool. If that's the worry, it's going to demand the offense to really continue to score and score and score. Yeah. And you can't do that if you look the way you did the last 2 weeks. We can't have Purdy look like a game manager 1 half or look crappy 3 quarters and then pull it up something as like, no, there's not going to be those moments. The Chiefs aren't going to allow you.
You can't blame it on, because it's back-to-back weeks. It's not like you could blame it. The first, I felt like against the Packers, you could kind of blame the rain and rust, but now you're like, well, that was clearly
I didn't even think that was legible.
Why are they coming out like
that? You can't do that. They had no excuse for that. You are the number 1 seed against a 7 seed, a team that's inexperienced, significantly less talent. So even on your rusty day, you should be able to beat them. So the fact you looked that way was inexcusable. But circling back to what you opened up with like a few minutes ago about like, can you stomach a loss to the Chiefs? No, you have to win it. You have to. This is it. You have 2 MVP candidates on your team. You have 7 All-Pros. You have 18 Pro Bowls. Like, no, there's no excuse. You have to win. You have to beat them. I don't care if Mahomes looks great. You lose this game.
It's a down year for like the entire NFC too. Like, it just seems like it would be such a heartbreaker to try to go through all of that again. Like, in my opinion, how many times can you make it to the mountain and not like go over the hill before you start kind of like having some internal crumbling?
You finally have your quarterback, who again, everyone he's clearly an MVP candidate. That's a fact. He's an MVP finalist. He had an MVP caliber year. So did McCaffrey. It's really like it needs to be one on the offense to me. I think it comes down to this, like, because I don't trust the defense to have more than a few stops.
What a change! Like earlier I said, what's the difference between 2019? Like, what a change where our faith lies is really with our offense and with our quarterback.